When you're the most powerful person in the world, what you say matters. Just ask Donald Trump. From promoting disinfectant as a COVID cure to bragging about groping women, these are the things the former president will never live down. Donald Trump launched his presidential campaign in 2015 with a few choice words that still ring in the ears of many Americans and Mexicans today. In a crisp blue suit with an American flag pin, he vowed to do many things, like make America great again and build a wall across the southern border. Insisting on fighting crime and illegal immigration, he infamously alleged,
"When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing crime, they're rapists."
He called on the Latin American country to pay for their alleged wrongdoings in a major way, adding, "I would build a great wall, and nobody builds walls better than me, believe me, and I'll build them very inexpensively. I will build a great wall on our southern border."
Mexico's going to pay for it, and they'll be happy to pay for it.
The wall ultimately spanned 458 miles along the borders of California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. The price tag was steep, and it wasn't Mexican citizens who paid the price. Trump initially promised voters the sprawling project would cost $8 to $12 billion, but records show that the U.S. government shelled out around $15 billion for the border, at the expense of American taxpayers. The wall has yet to be finished. While President Joe Biden halted its construction in 2021, he announced that it would resume in October 2023. Just ahead of the 2016 election, Donald Trump's past came back to haunt him when a resurfaced video from 2005 featured him making shocking comments about women. In the clip, Trump is speaking about an unnamed woman with Access Hollywood's Billy Bush. He says in the video,
I moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it.
Whoa.
I did try and her. She was married. I moved on her like a but I couldn't get there.
As Trump went on to crudely attack the woman's appearance, he and Bush saw their escort to the set, actor Ariane Zucker. Trump said in the video,
I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her.
Trump then concluded by delivering one of his most controversial lines to date.
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the I can do anything.
In response to the controversial video, Trump issued a rare public apology, but also dismissed what he'd said as locker room banter.
I said it, I was wrong, and I apologize.
Donald Trump took a bold stance on abortions in 2016, sending the media into a tailspin. During an MSNBC town hall that May, the future president doubled down on his pro-life stance when asked whether or not there should be some sort of consequence for those undergoing the procedure. Trump said,
I would say that it's a very serious problem. There has to be some form of punishment.
Ultimately, Trump's presidency did make major strides stemming from his pro-life views after he left office. When Roe v. Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court in June 2022, in typical Trump fashion, he not only patted himself on the back for appointing 3 conservative pro-life judges to the court, but also called out former Republican presidents for failing to make waves in the anti-abortion sector. While on the campaign trail in September 2023, Trump said,
They couldn't get the job done, I got the job done.
One of the most damning charges against Donald Trump has to do with his alleged attempt to find more votes to sway the 2020 election.
We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
In January 2021, Trump called on Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. The southern state had previously tipped in favor of Joe Biden, marking the first time Georgia voted blue in almost 3 decades. However, in the leaked audio clip, the former president appeared to claim thousands of people falsely impersonated voters, including many voters he alleged were dead. In the leaked audio, Trump told Raffensperger, I think the number is close to 5,000 people, and they went to obituaries. They went to all sorts of methods to come up with an accurate number. But Raffensperger refuted that claim, telling him,
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have
is the data you have is wrong.
Raffensperger then told the president that the actual number of dead people that voted in Georgia was 2. From there, Trump told Raffensperger, "All I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have. So tell me, Brad, what are we going to do? We won the election, and it's not fair to take it away from us like this." Raffensperger ultimately told the former president to take his claims to court, stating, "We have to stand by our numbers. We believe our numbers are right." Comments that Donald Trump made about his eldest daughter, Ivanka Trump, decades ago are still ringing in the ears of many Americans today. In a resurfaced 2006 interview with Howard Stern, the shock jock commented on Ivanka's body shape, stating that she looks more voluptuous than ever. Stern also asked Donald if his daughter had gotten breast implants. A 2004 conversation between the two got even cringier when Stern called Ivanka a piece of Donald seemed to affirm Stern's lewd comments about his daughter by simply replying, "Yeah." Trump also admitted in a 2002 interview with Stern that he would have no problem dating women younger than Ivanka. Then, in 2006, Donald stated during a joint appearance with Ivanka on The View,
Said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un's relationship had its ups and downs throughout Trump's one-term presidency. For example, after the two attended a 2017 summit in Vietnam, Trump tweeted, "Why would Kim Jong-un insult me by calling me old when I would never call him short and fat? Oh well, I try so hard to be his friend, and maybe someday that will happen." The rift between the two may have been ignited amidst Trump's strong stance opposing North Korea's nuclear weapons program. During a 2017 speech, Trump warned, "Do not underestimate us, and do not try us. The weapons you're acquiring are not making you safer, they are putting your regime in grave danger. Every step you take down this dark path increases the peril you face." But at a 2019 summit in Vietnam, Trump noticeably changed his tune, remarking on his good relationship with the North Korean dictator, according to ABC News. However, given the ongoing tension between the US and North Korea, Trump has been criticized by members of his own party for continuing to praise Jong-un even into his post-presidency.
And then we fell in love. Okay?
Donald Trump was quick to call out and place blame on other countries during his days in office.
Germany is totally controlled by Russia.
So when COVID-19 ramped up globally in the spring of 2020, he repeatedly used the term Chinese virus when addressing the public. Trump defended his decision to do so, however, after receiving backlash for being xenophobic and using weaponizing language. Trump claimed,
It's not racist at all. No, not at all. It comes from China. That's why. It comes from China. I want to be accurate.
Remember that time Donald Trump suggested the American public ingest disinfectants to potentially cure COVID-19? The infamous moment went down after the former president made alarming comments following a research presentation by Billy Bryan in April of 2020. At the time, Bryan was the head of the Department of Homeland Security's Science and Technology Division. In his presentation, Bryan noted that his team found that the coronavirus died more quickly in warm, humid temperatures and sunlight. Bryan's team also concluded that disinfectants like bleach or alcohol were effective in killing COVID-19 on surfaces. After the presentation, Trump remarked, "I see the disinfectant that knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute, and is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning?"
Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs, so it'd be interesting to check that.
This, along with Trump's other unproven suggestions to treat the coronavirus, led to a media and medical community firestorm. For example, Dr. Vin Gupta told NBC News, "This notion of injecting or ingesting any type of cleansing product into the body is irresponsible and it's dangerous." Donald Trump made United States history when he became the first president to face criminal charges in 2023.
This trial is a total witch hunt.
It should be noted that Ulysses S. Grant was the first president to be arrested in 1872 for speeding in a horse and buggy, but the issue was later resolved after he paid a fine. Trump, however, is facing much graver charges, with felony counts made against him and several of his associates in 4 separate cases in Georgia, Washington, D.C., New York, and Florida. When added up, the former president is facing a total 91 federal and state charges as of December 2023. Whether or not Trump gets convicted in any of these cases, the constitutional requirements actually don't prevent a presidential candidate from running for office if they have a criminal record. Trump has continued to proclaim his innocence while vowing to continue his run for the 2024 election, even if he does so from behind bars.
The DOJ is corrupt, and they're leading this whole thing for election interference.
When asked by a Meet the Press reporter whether or not he feared for a future prison sentence, Trump responded,
No, I don't, really. I don't even think about it.
He went on to add, "These are Banana Republic indictments. These are third world indictments." In one of the most highly publicized moments of his presidency, Donald Trump stood outside St. John's Episcopal Church in Washington, D.C., holding a Bible. He did this shortly after police used tear gas and flash grenades to disperse protesters along his route to the parish. At the time, peaceful protesters were demonstrating after the death of George Floyd, who was killed by Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin in May of 2020. Trump stood in front of the church holding the Holy Book, saying,
We have a great country. That's my thoughts.
Many criticized the photo op and took to X, formerly known as Twitter, to share their thoughts. For example, MSNBC reporter Joe Scarborough tweeted, "Trump holding up a Bible like a man who has never seen one before." Future President Joe Biden also chimed in that September, saying during a CNN town hall, "A president stands out there when people are peacefully protesting in front of the White House. He gets the military to go in for tear gas, move people physically, move them out of the way so he can walk across to a Protestant church and hold a Bible upside down." While the New York Times confirmed the Bible was indeed held right side up, the then Democratic nominee didn't miss a chance to take a jab at his competitor.
Come on, this guy has a dog whistle about as big as a foghorn.
When the results of the 2020 election were called, Trump was on the golf course getting in some tee time. His decision to take to the green during the tense election call was considered hypocritical by many, considering the fact that he often slammed former President Barack Obama for golfing too much during his presidency.
He played more golf last year than Tiger Woods.
However, according to data collected by CNN, Obama spent 98 days golfing during the first 3 years of his presidency. Meanwhile, Trump spent 248 days golfing during that same amount of time, as noted by CNN. In addition to Trump's seemingly contradictory statements, the former reality star's golf habit also cost taxpayers millions. Though USA Today noted that the exact figure is unclear, the outlet reported that $141 million was the rumored estimated total by October 2020. Donald Trump has long been championed by several far-right conservative groups like the Proud Boys. In 2018, the Anti-Defamation League dubbed them as a right-wing extremist group with a violent agenda that promotes hateful ideologies such as white supremacy. As such, heads turned when they got a special shout-out from Trump during the first 2020 presidential debate. When asked if he condemns white supremacist groups by the debate's moderator, Trump replied,
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Trump's senior campaign advisor, Jason Miller, later explained what the president supposedly meant by this comment. According to the New York Times, Miller said that the then president was very clear he wants them to knock it off, but it's worth noting that much of Trump's political momentum has been generated from far-right extremists. That said, Proud Boys members proceeded to celebrate Trump's remark, calling it an endorsement. The group also reported an increase in membership as a result result of Trump's comment.
I think it was just a national embarrassment.
While the former president has denounced white supremacy, he allegedly got angry with former Speaker of the House Paul Ryan in 2017 after Ryan publicly condemned a group of neo-Nazis who had incited a fatal riot in Charlottesville, Virginia. According to Bob Woodward and Robert Costa's 2021 tell-all book Peril, Trump reportedly told Ryan, "You're not in the foxhole with me. These people love me. These are my people. I can't backstab the people who support me." Is there any love left in Melania and Donald Trump's marriage? Some say it's questionable, particularly given the number of times she seemingly refused his attempts at holding her hand. Numerous videos have shown the former model appearing to move her hand away from her husband, including a 2020 video captured by The Independent as the couple descended the steps of Air Force One. Trump seemed to make multiple attempts to hold his wife's hand, but she appeared to move it away from him and instead cling to her dress. The moment made the rounds on social media, with ex-users having a field day with the clip. One user tweeted, "Welcome to the resistance, FLOTUS." Meanwhile, another ex-user quipped, "She is voting for Biden." It's no secret that Donald Trump has had his fair share of squabbles with reporters over the years, especially ones who work for CNN.
You're CNN, you're fake news.
But the former president reached his breaking point with CNN's chief White House correspondent Jim Acosta after the two came to blows during a heated press conference in November 2018. At the time, the issue at hand was the Central American migrant caravan, in which thousands of citizens from Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador had fled their home countries to seek refuge in the United States. During the press conference, Acosta pressed Trump for referring to individuals trekking across the border as an invasion. Trump defended himself by saying, "I consider it an invasion. You and I have a difference in opinion. You should let me run the country. You run CNN, and if you did it well, your ratings would be much better." A Trump aide attempted to take the microphone from Acosta, but the reporter continued talking. Trump then said,
CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person.
Though he eventually put down the mic per Trump's request, it wasn't before the White House accused the correspondent of placing his hands on the staffer. The incident led to Acosta's press pass being revoked, which in turn led to CNN suing the White House, claiming that footage of the incident was edited. While Acosta's pass was later reinstated, the exchange lives on as a media moment many can't forget. When thousands of individuals took part during the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot, many wondered what then-President Donald Trump was doing during it. A horde of protesters had gathered outside the Capitol, eventually breaking down police barriers to enter the esteemed building. In the midst of the unprecedented violence, some people lost their lives, including a police officer. Nearly 150 other police officials were injured in attempting to stop the intruders. All eyes were on Trump following the incident, with many claiming his tweets and a rally held nearby beforehand had incited the riot. For example, in a December 2020 tweet that called for overturning the election results, Trump wrote, "Statistically impossible to have lost the 2020 election. Big protest in DC on January 6th. Be there, will be wild." Trump later released a since-deleted video on X saying, "I know your pain, but you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order." The platform formerly known as Twitter temporarily banned Trump just days later. Capitol intruder Stephen Ayers testified during the House Committee's January 6th investigation that he felt Trump encouraged the riot. Ayers told the committee,
"He basically put out, come to stop the steal rally, and I felt like I needed to be down here."
If you or anyone you know has been a victim of sexual assault, help is available. Visit the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network website or contact RAIN's National Helpline at 1-800-656-HOPE. That's 1-800-656-4673.